In this video today, we're talking about 4 different ways in which people deal with stress. Naturally, your clients are going to be dealing with various different types of stress. And how do I know that? How can I guarantee that? Well, I've seen many clients over the years, and there's always that same running theme. There is a reason as to why a client has sought the help of a coach. And that generally is because there seems to be a lack of confidence somewhere. There is a specific thing they need to overcome, what they want to achieve, but there's also this underlying feeling that there is stress that is being created somewhere in their lives. Now, stress is horrible, right? Stress is genuinely a killer. We want to make sure that when we're dealing with stress in the appropriate way. Now, these 4 different ways that people can deal with stress. There are, of course, many more, but these are 4 very common ways, and 3 of them are not good. What? Right? 3 of them are not good. 1 of them is good. 1 of them is the one that we want to be dealing with. 1 of them is the one that we want to help our clients with. The 3 of them are not good. So the first way that people tend to deal with stress, and you are going to experience this with your clients, is they tend to avoid it. Right? They avoid the situations which cause them stress. And you may think, but hang on a minute, that's a good thing, right? Because they don't put themselves in a situation that stresses them out. But the problem here is when these situations are unavoidable and they keep cropping up and they have become a part of your client's life and they don't seem to be going anywhere, just to simply avoid and create avoidance around the stress is not an effective way of overcoming the stress. So we really want to try to encourage our clients not to simply avoid the situations that are creating stress in their lives, because in reality, they're not going anywhere. It just means that we try to dodge them for as long as we possibly can, and eventually they're going to need to be dealt with, and we're not equipped to deal with them. The second way that you'll find your clients try to deal with stress is through denial, right? Just pure denial that is the way that they feel. And that doesn't help us either, because now we've got a client who's still feeling the stress and they're still experiencing the situations that create stress for them, except now they're completely lying to themselves and they're telling themselves they don't feel that way. They're in complete denial and they pretend that the stressful situation doesn't occur. They're pretending that the stress isn't affecting them badly, but what that does is it means that in reality they're just burying it. They're burying it down deep, they're not dealing with it, they're sitting on it, and then that thing is gonna get worse, right? I promise you, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get bigger, it's gonna get stronger, it's gonna get scarier, and then eventually that stress is gonna manifest itself in such a way that it could manifest itself with health problems, it can manifest itself with mental problems, emotional problems. Stress manifests itself in horrible ways, so we don't wanna deny it, we don't wanna avoid it. Okay, they are 2 very common ways that people try to deal with stress and they're not effective. We don't want to simply avoid it, we don't want to simply deny it. The third way is people seem to turn their stress into some form of competition. Like, oh, well, you know what, you think your life's bad? My life is much worse. It's just like, we hear this all the time with clients. It's almost like a competition. How can I win the game of stress? Can I win the game of the crappy life, the unfulfilled life, feeling lost, feeling down? And they try to almost outdo the people around them by saying, well, you know what, you think that's bad? This is really bad. It's almost like a stress coping mechanism, but again, it's one that just doesn't work, right? It's almost like trying to put the stress on a pedestal. If it's not going anywhere, I might as well put it on a pedestal. I might as well create a competition out of it. I might as well talk about it almost like it's got a high regard. So anyway, we don't want to avoid our stress. We don't want to be in denial about our stress. And we certainly don't want to be taking our stressful situations and creating some form of competition out of them, right? What we want to be doing is we want to be learning the reasons as to why the stress exists. We want to be learning how we can use the stress, utilize the stress as a form of power, as a form of energy. Now, stress is it's a strange thing. Now, if you think about a plank of wood, I like to use this analogy because it's just a good idea of the effects that stress can have. Now, when you put a solid plank of wood under stress, if you put it under too much stress, it's gonna snap, it's gonna break. In which case, we don't want to be putting that wood under too much stress. We don't want to be putting ourselves under too much stress because it can have devastating effects. However, the stress that wood is being put under is due to a form of energy. It's due to a form of power. It's due to something that is pushing the wood and moving the wood in such a way that it is being put under stress. But if we can harness energy, if we can harness power, if we can understand where it comes from, what it's made of, what's its purpose, why is it there, then what we can do is we can take the energy, we can take the power, and we can push it and move it towards something constructive. The reason why I'm giving you this analogy is because, like I said previously, when people get stressed, they either avoid it, they're in denial about it, or they just blow it up into some form of competition. We want to understand it. We want to harness the power of that. We want to harness the energy of that. We don't want to find ourselves continuously under stress, but we need to ask ourselves, why is it happening? Why am I feeling stress? Where is this coming from? Where is this pressure being created? And how can I harness that energy? How can I harness that pressure? And how can I move it in a different direction? That energy is obviously exists. Right? It's there, I can feel it. And at the moment, it's manifesting itself within the form of stress. But what I want to do is I want to redirect it somewhere else. And the only way I can ever redirect that energy is by fully understanding why it exists and where it comes from. I want to learn from it. I want to use it. It's just a different way of thinking about stress. People don't often think about using it or utilizing it or learning from it. But it's much like with any powerful energy, it's there for our benefit. We just need to channel it in the right direction. That can only come through education. It can only come through asking. It can only come through questioning. So the next time your client is feeling stressed, don't avoid it. Don't be in denial about it. And do not entertain where they desperately want to talk about how bad their life is compared to other people. Ask solution-focused questions. Ask focused questions, open questions about the creation of this stress, and then try to channel it in a different direction, in a direction that's going to help them achieve their goals. It's going to help them feel better about who they are. It's going to help them find their fulfillment. So we don't avoid stress, we harness its power.